Hi, Leathur Rokk here. Welcome to my channel. If you'd like to hear all about my trip to Washington, D.C. to see the public viewing of the casket of President George H.W. Bush, stay tuned. So, I want you guys to know it's a miracle that I'm even on today and keeping my schedule for my channel, because as soon as I got home from Washington, D.C., and I didn't stay too long, I will tell you the story, the following day my hard drive broke. I have the worst luck with hard drives, if you don't already know. But I was able to get to Best Buy. I bought a brand new solid state drive. So hopefully I'll get a few more years out of this computer. So now on to my story about Washington, D.C. And I even have notes. This is my YouTuber book that helps me with my show notes. So it was colder than I expected in Washington, D.C. It really was. But I got there at a semi-convenient time. I arrived about 1:30 in the afternoon, and when I exited the Greyhound in Union Station, I used an unfamiliar exit. Usually when I'm used to getting out of Union Station, I see the Capitol right there, but when I exited this time, I didn't see the Capitol. So I was a little bit disoriented, and I had to actually ask people kind of for directions, even though I had a map with me. And as I got closer to there, I was able to talk to a Capitol police officer to ask him if it would be okay for me to bring my laptop computer with me, because if it wasn't, then I was going to have to drop it off and go through all that stuff. But he said that it would be fine. I wouldn't have any problem, and he was correct. Now, it was over 2 hours we had to wait in line to get inside the Capitol Visitor Center. And it was, like I said, it was really cold. And if you saw my previous video, you know that I went formal. And I'm always glad to dress up for these occasions. But I still don't think I was quite prepared for how cold it actually was. But when I got to where the line started, it was moving fairly well. So I really can't complain about that. And I saw all kinds of journalists around, videotaping people and doing interviews and stuff. And one of the things that caught my eye was there was somebody from a foreign country, and he was speaking maybe Spanish or Portuguese. And he was actually using like a cell phone and a tripod, and was doing it, and getting some, I guess, really professional results out of it. It made me think that I would have liked to have done something with my laptop when I was there. But because it was so cold, and because at that point I still wasn't 100% sure that I would get through security. But it was about maybe 2.5 hours of waiting, and then we approached the sign, and they had a few more restrictions, like they wouldn't let you bring food of any kind in, which didn't bear me anyway. But I was just glad to get inside, and I took my coat off, and I did not ring anything. Now I'm $6,000 worth of bionic. This pinky here, this has more jewelry in it than all my body piercings combined. Nothing reacted. Put the computer in. I had disposable reel film camera. They said everything would be fine. So I got inside there, and I was just so glad to be warm. Oh my goodness. That was the first impression the Capitol made of me. And also the fact that you're walking on this very shiny, marble. Shiny marble floors and rougher marble walls, and this incredible statuary that you see almost at every wall, and all kinds of artwork. And there is a place, they had different kinds of that stretch rope, security tape, whatever you call it, so that people could stay kind of organized. There was the lines. I wouldn't begin to tell you how long the line was, but what they did was, once they got to a certain area, they had divided into the left or the right. And so it was moving, and the people were very friendly, and everywhere you looked, there were statues. Now, I took it upon myself to get a few pamphlets, which I thought would make this a little bit more interesting. So hold on a second. Okay, when I got there, they had a bunch of pamphlets. Most of them were in other languages, but I got a United States Capitol Visitor's Guide, which I'm not going to bother opening up right now, and United States Capitol and Congress pamphlet. And this thing here, December 2018, Tours and Activities, this month at U.S. Capitol. So I have some good things to read later on. So, and at one point, I actually ducked underneath the tape. There were plenty of restrooms there, ran underneath there, and again, everybody was so glad to be out of that cold. And there was statues pertaining to all kinds of historical figures. There was even something that caught my eye as I was exiting the ladies' room. Looked like an old piece of concrete, and it was actually a chunk from the wall of the original Capitol building. So there was all kinds of things that if I would actually take a tour, I would actually really see what it is I was looking at. So now when we finally got to the entrance to the rotunda where we were going to pay our respects, they were letting people in 20 at a time. And found out that part of the delay while we were waiting inside was because some quote-unquote famous people were in there paying their respects. But hey, at least we were in and out of the cold. And that's all we cared about, aside from, of course, paying our respects, because it wasn't as cold as it was when I went to George W. Bush's second inauguration. That was really frigid. And, of course, at least this time we were able to walk around and we weren't standing in one place too much. So it wasn't too bad. I'm referencing my notes here because I really don't want to screw this up. They let people in 20 at a time. And my first impressions of, you're looking at, before you even see the casket, you see how it's surrounded by this dome. And it looks like there are statues surrounding the rim of the dome. And then the top of it, the ceiling is painted. And it's something that reminded me kind of the Sistine Chapel. Not that I've seen it in person. I wish I could tell you exactly what I remember it was. I was getting pretty emotional at this point because I'm looking straight ahead and the casket is there. Ultimately, I got to within 20 feet of it, maybe 17 feet of it. And it was, you saw all these people around and the gravity of where you were hit you. And I wish people had been a little bit quieter because you're really supposed to take this with respect. And the fact that I was this close to a beloved person, our 41st president, it really hit me. Just like whenever you're coming to Washington, D.C., if you're not lucky enough to live there and you see all these national monuments and you see them in person, it hits you. It really does. And here I am in the Capitol under really sad circumstances, but I'm here like everybody else to pay our respects, right? And the casket is right there, and you've got Secret Service people and all kinds of military people. Now, whenever I'm in Washington, D.C., there is a 5-word phrase that I say more than any other 5 words. You want to know what they are? Thank you for your service. There are all these Secret Service people, so many military people. I mean, all kinds of police. It hits you. It really is overwhelming, but in a good way, that you see so many people that they're of public service, that they are in charge of keeping people safe, protecting our dignitaries, protecting our leaders, protecting us from terrorism and everything. And you see so many of them in one place. And of course, when there is a national day of mourning like this, hello, Cassie, you want out? So I'm trying to think of how long we were actually inside there. I think it was maybe no more than 20 minutes or so. I'm not sure. They kept the line moving so that people who were out in the cold could get to see. I don't know how many people actually showed up. I've been watching the news, but I've been preoccupied also with these computer problems, so I really don't know how many people in total there were. But it was very, very moving to be there. And after they exited us past, whoops, that was the cat carrier. She's okay. Anyway, after they exited us past the rotunda area, there's a gift shop, but that was not open. But there was a restrooms there, and then there was 3 lines that you could either go out directly, or you could just sign your name in a guest book, or you could write further things in a guest book. And guess which line I was in. And they gave everybody a copy of this really nice picture here. Maybe I'll turn the light up so you could see it closer. And it's a nice cardstock. And this is the back of it. And you can take a look at this while I read the back of it. It says, honoring the life of George H.W. Bush, President of the United States, 1989-1993, Vice President of the United States, 1981-1989, Director of Central Intelligence Agency, 1976-1977, Chief of the U.S. Liaison Office to the People's Republic of China. I didn't even know this. 1974-1975. Well, I was just a kid then anyway. Ambassador to the United Nations, 1971-1973. United States House of Representatives, 1967-1971. Yale University Bachelor of Arts, 1948. He was in the United States Navy, 1942 to 1945. I'm going to turn the light back on. The family of George H.W. Bush deeply appreciates your prayers and many kindnesses as together we celebrate and honor the life of a loving and devoted husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, brother, friend, and 41st President of the United States. You see closely it shows the seal. Wasn't that nice? So I hung out a little bit just because I really did not relish going out in that cold again. When I went in the ladies' room, I put my extra pair of socks that I brought with me. I didn't pack many things because I didn't think that I was going to be there that long. I did not know if I would stay over. I had an open mind. All that I really cared about was paying my respects to the president. But I added this pair of socks on so that I would be warmer. And then I packed everything up in my backpack. I never took my computer out because I didn't think it would be a good idea to bring it out while I was on the Capitol grounds. When I got out there, I found my way to Pennsylvania Avenue, and I took Pennsylvania Avenue up toward the direction of the White House because I have friends who staff that peace vigil across from, in Lafayette Park, across from the White House. Now, when I got there, there were more barricades around. Oh, okay, I'm skipping ahead. I have more things to mention. While I was walking up Pennsylvania Avenue, I started to see a lot of familiar things from when I was at the Walkaway March. I saw some things that I would like to revisit when I have the time and the money. Like there's this museum called the Newseum that's all devoted to journalism, celebrating our First Amendment. Every morning they have copies of major newspapers from all over the world, and they have them on the Newseum website, and that is newseum.org if you're interested. Now, this is not a Smithsonian museum, so they do charge admission, which is part of the reason why I haven't been there yet. But it would be worth it to go to their website and get to see all these headlines, all these pictures of front pages of newspapers from around the world. So I saw that. I saw many things that I recognized from when I did the Walkaway March, and that was really cool. Plus, since it's closer to Christmas time, I got to see some Christmas decorations, and that's always a delight. And I was walking kind of fast because it was cold, but I also stopped to write in my journal. And this is my journal. Remember my journal? The same journal that the Secret Service noticed when I was writing too close to the barricade. Well, didn't have time to do that this time. I made my way close to where the vigil usually was, but like I told you, the barricades were set up, I'm sure because of this event that I just participated in. So I had to veer to the right, and I kind of walked around. And so that what they did was they moved the peace vigil to, I think, 15th, and I don't know, but it's kind of like around the street, or I don't know. But anyway, I found it, and somebody, a friend of mine, was staffing it, and we talked for a while. And it was getting colder and colder, and that you hear Cassie in her litter box. I can't help that. Please don't dig a hole to China. So he gave me hand warmers. I put some in my socks, and I put some in my gloves because it was really cold, especially when you're sitting down. And there was an extra blanket there, and I hung out. We talked politics, and occasionally curious people would stop by and talk to him about the different signs that were in the peace vigil and different ideas he has for how the government is being run and what is and is not constitutional. And by the way, if you're interested in his site, unfortunately his name escapes me, but his site is called realhonestgov.com. And so he was talking politics to people also. And at that time, I noticed this really cool rhythmic drum beat. And I decided to walk around and investigate. And it turned out there was a demonstration also in Lafayette Park. And it was called the, what annex? Kremlin Annex. KremlinAnnex.org. Now, I really don't want to promote them because they're absolutely diametrically opposed to my politics. They want to impeach the president. They have every litany of every complaint that everybody who doesn't like the president will give. But the reason why I was hanging out, watching and listening to them is because this consisted of 2 drummers, a really good electric bass player, at least 1 rapper, a girl with a blowing a whistle, and the music was good, even though I didn't like the lyrics. The guy was talented, and when you're bopping around like this, it keeps you from being all frosty and stuff. Now, I originally told you about this in a video, which you will never see because I filmed the second video on the bus coming back here from Washington, D.C., but unfortunately, when this hard drive failed, I lost the final video. So part of what I'm telling you with is things that you would have heard prior, but you should be lucky that we're even seeing this because, and I got to give a lot of thanks to Best Buy for doing so much to help me get the data from the previous hard drives. So anyway, I'm watching this act, but finally the fact that I'm decked out I have a MAGA hat on, and I have a Trump scarf on, and I'm cold, and I'm realizing I'm bopping along to lyrics that aren't what I'm about, so like maybe I should get back to the peace vigil. So I did, and I hung out there a few more minutes, but the later it got, the colder I got, and this person was the only person that I knew that I saw in town tonight. And, you know, Washington, D.C. is a bigger town than you realize it is. It's built on this grid. It's like this diamond shape around the Potomac River and stuff. But when it's cold, I don't want to say it's inhospitable, but I really don't like the cold. And I was starting to get kind of hungry, and I really didn't want to spend money because I borrowed from my little personal nest egg just to go to this thing. I did not know that I was going to be making a second trip to Washington, D.C. so soon, but I felt that I could not stay away. Okay, but by this point, I'm really tired. No, I really wasn't tired, but I was cold. And I decided maybe it would be better for me to just go to Union Station. It would not have occurred. I was told that maybe I should have showed up at one of my friends' houses over there. But first of all, I was raised that you don't show up at a person's place without calling first. That's just rude. My mother wouldn't like it if people did that to her, you know. And for that matter, calling a person, if you know that their cell phone doesn't work, if, for instance, you try making a phone call to somebody and their phone is not set up to even receive incoming calls, then what's the sense in finding a payphone and putting 50 cents in or whatever if you know they're not going to get the call? Or if they don't know how to check their voicemail or whatever. If you can't get through, you're not going to make a call, right? That would not be logical. So I just made my way back down Pennsylvania Avenue to Union Station. Then, when I got there, check this out. Look, guess when the next bus was? Can you see that? I had to wait till 3:50 a.m. to catch my bus back. Now, I didn't want to buy the ticket right away. Oh yeah, one other thing I want to mention. When you get tickets now, I used to get a round trip, but guess what? It's so hard to commit yourself to knowing exactly when you're going to leave. So what I've been doing now, I get one way there and one way back. And the great thing was that because I was getting a one-way from Washington, D.C. to Atlantic City, I got a casino bus. I ended up with a $20 food credit. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I get to Greyhound Terminal. I find out that I can't leave there till 3:50 in the morning. I don't want to buy a ticket and then risk falling asleep. And then, you know, if you fall asleep, you miss your bus, you eat that ticket. We don't want to go through that again. So I actually wait until 2:30 or so, 3 o'clock, to buy my ticket. By then, you know you're not going to fall asleep. So I did, And I was really, oh yeah, and you know, it's really, really cold in that top level, the bus level of Union Station. It is so cold that I decided to walk around and do some window shopping. Big mistake. Security doesn't like that. It looks suspicious. You know, I didn't realize that that part of the Union Station was considered to be closed. I mean, I wasn't trying to cause trouble or anything, but there were some shops that caught my attention. There is a Thai shop that looked really intriguing, even though I bet they're expensive as all get out. And it would have been nice if the Einstein's bagel place was open, because I really would have loved one of those everything bagels with like the lox mix on it, but cold, not heated. But I had one of those the last time I was in Washington, D.C., and it kicked my butt. It was really wonderful. That was when I had the 7:30 a.m. departure. But no, I was leaving here almost 4 o'clock in the morning. Crazy times for arrivals and departures out of that Greyhound, coming in and out of Washington, D.C. I don't know why that is. But, hey, I got on the bus. I got home safely. When I got into Philadelphia, they told me, they had the Philly news on in the Greyhound terminal, and they said that it was snowing in Atlantic City. Yeah. So, and I like the snow. I really do. I'm the person that likes to go play in it, but not when you're hauling a computer. Okay. But I got home okay. I took some pictures even outside the window of the bus when it was running, and I'm glad I posted them to Google Plus when I did, because, and I took some pictures on the Atlantic City Boardwalk, and I'm glad I posted them to Google Plus when I did too, because I'm serious. I got home on a, Wednesday? The following day, Thursday, this hard drive failed. When I tried to post the video that I did post that day, it took 3 attempts to post it because the hard drive was failing. So I ended up having to take, after calling Best Buy 5 times, they said, take it, haul it in. And I did. And that's why I have a new hard drive today. And that's why you're finally getting a video that is on schedule. And that, my dear, is my Washington, D.C. story. How I got to pay my respects to President George H.W. Bush. Bush, our 41st president. Yes, I was there. Yes, I froze my tail feathers off. Now, and I got my computer up and running again with a solid state drive. You want to see it? Well, this is at least the box. I got a solid state drive. Yes, Cassie. Oh, and Cassie says goodbye. Now, if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you like me and my content, I'd love to have you subscribe. When you do, hit that bell notification thingy. Oh, yeah, and if you ever try to do any of my premieres, they're wonky with the notifications. I don't know why that is. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my videos. I will talk to you soon. Bye.